What is up, Light Fam? Welcome to another video. My name is David, your spiritual awakening coach, here to help you through your spiritual awakening. I really appreciate all of the questions that you guys send me over on Instagram. It allows me to keep my finger on the pulse in regards to what type of videos you guys need the most. And a very common theme that I've been getting the last few weeks is how to stay on the spiritual path. A lot of you guys are having trouble staying on the spiritual path. A lot of you may even feel like you're in the spiritual void, which I did do a video on, which you can go watch right here. I'll link it in the description below so you can watch it after this video. But there seems to be a real issue with staying spiritually awake, maybe in the 3D, staying spiritually awake in the matrix, and staying on that spiritual path. So as a spiritual awakening channel, I definitely needed to address this question of how to stay on the spiritual path. So let's dig into it right now. Let's go. How to stay on the spiritual path? Well, first you have to realize that the spiritual path is not something separate and outside of yourself. You are spirit. A spiritual awakening is a remembering. It's not an acquisition of something outside of yourself. It's a remembering of what you agreed to forget after incarnating, that you are a spiritual being learning through the physicality of contrast in this temporary physical simulation. So once you self-identify as spirit, then you become the spiritual path. Your entire life itself becomes a spiritual practice. When you self-identify as spirit, you lose the concept of needing to go out to find the spiritual path. It would kind of be the same thing as saying, I'm having trouble staying human, or how do I stay on the human path? You would never say that because you identify as human. So you have to identify as spirit, and then your entire life becomes the spiritual path of spiritual practice, including the 3D. So you're doing a spiritual practice not just when you're meditating or just when you're walking out in nature. Driving in traffic can be a spiritual practice. Maybe you need to show some empathy and compassion for your fellow humans, some patience out there on the roads, which we all struggle with, myself included. I'm not going to claim immunity from that one. Or interacting with your contentious, gossiping coworkers could be a spiritual path or spiritual practice. Maybe you need to be that light, hold the light for that group and get them to raise their vibration instead of sinking down and gossiping with them. So once you identify as spirit, your entire life becomes the spiritual path, and you won't have this concept that you're off of the path, because when you're off of that spiritual path, you're still on the spiritual path. You're just learning because you're off of your true, authentic vibration. So what is it that you're needing to learn over here? See, when your life is a spiritual practice because you identify as spirit, you ask empowering questions. What am I being shown here? What do I need to learn? Where am I out of alignment with source consciousness? Where am I in alignment with fear? That's how someone who identifies as spirit goes through life spiritually awake. Someone who is not spiritually awake will ask very disempowering questions. Why is this happening to me? They'll be finger pointing. They'll be gaslighting. They'll not take responsibility for their own actions. They'll stay in that victim mentality, and they'll believe that they are not spirit. So their perception of spirit is something completely separate and different from them. They're cut off from their true identity, and they're believing the illusion of the Maya. How to stay on the spiritual path? Step into the perspective of unity consciousness. I always say unity is the answer, duality is the problem. And what is unity and duality really on a bigger level? It's the illusion that spirit, unity, and the 3D, duality, are separate things. Everything is spirit. Everything in the 3D is also spirit. So when you come from the perspective of unity consciousness, you are seeing yourself in everything around you, fellow humans included. This gets you out of alignment with a lot of the survival, fight or flight modalities that we like to step into because we're believing in competition, fear, lack, scarcity. But when you see everything around you as an extension of yourself, this gets you out of that closed off state of fight or flight and puts you more in a receptive state of allowing. This is a little bit more of a flow state where that unity consciousness allows you to mesh with your surroundings and become perceptive of what you are experiencing. So your life becomes a profound spiritual lesson. When we're talking about unity consciousness, that typically tends us to turn our microscope inward at our own energy. Well, this person is being toxic to me. Okay, well, is there some area in my life where I'm being toxic? Or this person is not valuing my worth? Well, is there some aspect in my life where I have let myself down and not stood up for my own self-worth? Or this person is abandoning me. Well, is there any place in my own life that I have given up on myself and abandoned myself? So when you come from the perspective of unity consciousness, your life will become a profound spiritual lesson where you're able to adjust those frequencies to adjust what you experience in your physical reality. How to stay on the spiritual path. Get mindfully centered in the present moment. So if we're trying to answer the question, how to stay on the spiritual path, by saying, identifying as spirit having a physical experience, that in and of itself should center you into the present moment because you're having a physical experience. You haven't had a physical experience. You're not going to have a physical experience. You're a spirit having a physical experience, and that self-awareness as spirit having a physical experience in the present moment then allows your life itself to become the spiritual path. One of my favorite phrases is the path is the destination. So don't let the ego rattle you with its labels. Oh, this is spiritual and this is not spiritual. No, everything is a spiritual practice if you get the spiritual lesson from it. How to stay on the spiritual path? Well, get mindfully centered in the present moment. This is huge. For some reason or another, get centered in the present moment. So if we're asked, yes, a motorcycle every time. How to, and that in and of itself should center you in the present moment because you're having a physical experience. You're not going to have a physical experience. You haven't had a physical experience. You're having a spiritual. Yes, more motorcycles. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, 1, 2, 3. What is up, Light Fam? First, we'll do quote of the day, and then we will do question of the day. Here is today's high vibrational quote. And now, question of the day. How do you stay on your spiritual path? Let us know in the comments below, Light Fam. If you need a helping hand staying on your spiritual path, we can work together one-on-one through Zoom. Check the description below for that. Until next time, I will see all of my beautiful Light family in the next video. Light, love, and abundance to all that are watching and to all you love. Peace, guys.